Crime and Punishment is a novel by the famous Russian author Fyodor Dostoevsky, first published in 1866. It is considered one of the greatest works of fiction of all time and is often regarded as Dostoevsky's masterpiece. The book tells the story of a young man named Raskolnikov, who commits a murder in St. Petersburg and must suffer the consequences of his crime. The novel opens with Raskolnikov, a former student, in poverty and isolation in his apartment. He is struggling to pay rent and is forced to pawn his belongings to make ends meet. Raskolnikov is also haunted by an idea that he cannot shake, the belief that certain individuals are above the law and can do whatever they want without facing punishment. This idea leads Raskolnikov to contemplate committing murder as a way to prove his theory. Raskolnikov's world changes when he meets a pawnbroker named Alyona Ivanovna. He believes that Alyona is a greedy and corrupt person who exploits those around her for her own gain. Raskolnikov begins to see the murder of Alyona as a way to rid the world of someone who is doing harm, and to prove his theory that certain people are above the law. One day, Raskolnikov puts his plan into action and murders Alyona. However, he also kills her half-sister Lizaveta, who happens to be in the apartment at the time. After the murders, Raskolnikov is racked with guilt and paranoia. He begins to see and hear things that aren't there and becomes increasingly agitated and unstable. The rest of the novel follows Raskolnikov as he struggles to come to terms with his crime and its aftermath. He is pursued by a police investigator named Porfiry Petrovich, who suspects Raskolnikov's involvement in the murders. Meanwhile, Raskolnikov's friends and family become increasingly concerned about his mental state and try to intervene to help him. As Raskolnikov's mental and emotional state deteriorates, he begins to have hallucinations and conversations with himself. He is tormented by his guilt and by the idea that he is not above the law, as he once believed. He begins to understand the true nature of his crime and the harm it has caused to others, including his own family and friends. In the end, Raskolnikov confesses to the murders and is sentenced to hard labor in Siberia. The novel ends with Raskolnikov's acceptance of his punishment and his recognition that he must atone for his crime. Crime and Punishment is a complex and multi-layered novel that explores themes of morality, guilt, and redemption. Dostoevsky's writing is rich and detailed, and he delves deeply into the psychology of his characters. The novel is also a powerful commentary on the social and political climate of 19th-century Russia and the struggles faced by individuals in a society that is plagued by poverty, corruption, and violence. One of the central themes of the novel is the question of whether or not some people are above the law. Raskolnikov's belief that he is a superior individual who can commit murder without consequences is ultimately proven false. Dostoevsky shows that everyone, regardless of social status or intelligence, is subject to the same moral and legal standards. Another important theme in the novel is the nature of guilt and how it can drive individuals to madness. Raskolnikov's guilt over the murders causes him to have hallucinations and to see and hear things that aren't there. He becomes increasingly isolated and paranoid as he tries to deal with his guilt.